कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम् आसाद्यं साधकस्वामिन् आसाद्यं तव किं वद रामधूतकृपासिन्धोः मत्कार्यं साधय प्रभो मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामधूतं शिरसा नमामि. We are all about to embark on a fascinating journey. A fascinating journey popularly celebrated as Sundarakand, which happens to be one of the significant segments of Ramayana. Before we dive deep into Sundarakanda, today we will begin by concluding Kishkinda Kanda, which happens to be the prelude to Sundarakanda. As we have seen, the journey of the Vanaras, led by Angada, Hanuman, Jambava, this journey can be compared to our own journeys, the journey of life. And over the last several weeks of Kishkinda Kanda, we have been relishing various important life lessons which are very much applicable to this very day. And as we begin the most fascinating part of this journey, the journey of the Supreme Bhakta, Hanuman, we also learn a very, very important lesson. Our journey needs to begin where we are, not where we think we should be. All the Vanaras, after undergoing various trials and tribulations, experiencing pain and pleasure, traversing through forests, mountains, deserts, going through caves, have finally reached the shore. And across the ocean, they know is their destination. They have all assembled there, contemplating on what should be the next move or who will make the next move. And this is where this life lesson becomes very important. It is fundamental to know that our journey begins where we are, not where we think we should be. Imagine we are driving towards our destination and we take some wrong turns, knowingly or unknowingly, and we face some obstacles all the way, and we end up at a point which is not going to lead us smoothly towards destination. There is no point in being frustrated, in being dejected. There is no point in resenting the situation and start unnecessarily analyzing as to where we should have been in order to successfully go towards the destination. it would be just a waste of time and energy thinking about where we should be. Rather, the focus should be on where we are and what should be done as a next step. Therefore, accepting the present situation. So this is what all the Vanaras realize. After all struggles, we saw how many of them were frustrated, dejected, contemplating suicide, contemplating of various options of how to escape the situation. They finally realized that accepting the present situation instead of resenting it is the fundamental prerequisite to a successful journey. And for any successful journey, humility, no doubt, is a prerequisite. But in order to succeed, ambition is a driving force. Ambition is also needed, ambition to succeed. Now, we may ask this question: humility and ambition, aren't they conflicting? Can they coexist? So this is where, through Hanuman, we also learn a very important lesson. We need to be ambitiously humble, no doubt. At the same time, one can be humbly ambitious also. How can ambition and humility come together and coexist successfully? Hanuman is the greatest example. He is the manifestation of both bhakti and shakti. If we have to visualize the very embodiment of this match-winning combination of bhakti and shakti, it is Hanuman. We always see Hanuman depicted with Anjali Mudra. Always. Hanuman always is depicted with his hands folding all the time. Mightiest of the mighty. Very humble. Folded hands all the time. Teaching us how Anjali Mudra is so very crucial for success. Humility. His bhakti is rooted in humility. But at the same time, we also see the same folded hands holding a mace. The same folded hands holding a mace. A powerful mace which indicates his Shakti. Thus, Hanuman shows us how to bring the seemingly conflicting Bhakti and Shakti, humility and ambition together. In the practice of Bhakti, there is an aspect of devotion, no doubt. There is also a more important aspect of dependence on Bhagavan. To be rooted in the awareness that I am dependent solely on Bhagavan and no one else. That aspect of dependence is fundamental to Bhakti. At the same time, in addition to this aspect of dependence on Bhagavan, there is this aspect of diligence, meticulousness, thoroughness in carrying out Ramakarya. Therefore, devotion and dependence and diligence all coming together in the form of Hanuman, showing how humility and ambition can coexist successfully. Ambition for name, fame, power, obviously, is a destructive force, no doubt. But through Hanuman, we learn that we have to be ambitious, not for collecting, but for contributing. when there is ambition not for collecting but for contributing to Ramakarya, when we recognize that our abilities, our capabilities, our talents are unique gifts of Bhagavan, when we recognize them and in the awareness of our abilities being Bhagavan's gifts, we put them to use for his Kainkarya, then ambition and humility can coexist together. And that is when the journey of life begins to accelerate, going in the right direction, going towards the destination. And therefore, as we embark on this glorious journey and as we relish the prelude to Sundarakanda, which is all about that preparation for the final phase of the journey, that fascinating part of the journey undertaken by Hanuman, who is the embodiment of Bhakti and Shakti, the two ingredients for a purposeful journey, a meaningful journey, a journey which is headed towards success. We see how that preparation leading up to the journey also becomes crucial. And it is in this phase of the journey, the prelude to Sundarakanda, we see the first and foremost superheroes ever known to mankind rising. We see the rise of the real superhero. We see the rise of the real Sundara. And we also see the importance of confidence building, counseling. We also see the role played by Jambavan. And that is the reason why, before we dive into the fascinating journey of Sundarakanda, we also need to spend time on looking at the prelude, which by itself is so very fascinating that it reveals several fundamental life lessons that are very much applicable to our own journeys of life. All the Vanaras were assembled on the shore. On the shore, overlooking on one side is the ocean. On the other side is the Mount Mahendra, the Mahendragiri. So they're all, in a way, rejuvenated. They have a renewed purpose. And Angada is once again trying to take charge after going through a lean patch of dejection. And he tries to once again give confidence to all the Vanaras. On listening to Angada, now the Vanaras, on the one hand, are elated, excited, but on the other hand are also riddled with self-doubts. There is some unknown fear still, which is robbing them of total excitement, total enthusiasm. Ata Angaja Vachaha Shutva Sarvete Vanarottamaha Swam Swam Gatau Samutsaham Uchuhu Tatrayata Kramam Gajo Gavakshaha Gavayaha Sharabaha Gandamadanaha Maindacha Dividachaiva Susheno Jambavantaka. Now all of them now in a way are preparing, but at the same time all of them seem to have their own limitations. Now the ocean seems to be more than 100 yojanas. And one needs to, who is the one who can cross over the more than 100 yojanas of distance? They know that they need to fly across the ocean to reach the destination. But they also know there are limitations, challenges. Gajaha, Gavakshaha, Gavayaha, Sharabaha. Gaja stands up. All the Vanaras, the great Vanara Veeras. Gaja stands up and says, I know one has to fly to cross over the ocean. I can only fly, I can only jump 10 yojanas. Gavaksha says, I can possibly do 20 yojanas. Gavayaha says, maybe I can do better, but my limitation is only 30 yojanas. Sharabha stands up and says, I can definitely do better, but maybe 40 yojanas is my limit. Gandhamadana stands up and says, I can leap over 50 yojanas, but that's it. But it looks like that is not sufficient. Mainda stands up and says, I can do 60 yojanas. Dvida says, maybe I can try and cross 70 yojanas. Sushena says, maybe I can push myself and I can jump and do 80. But then all of them, in one way or the other, admit their own limitations. Admit that they cannot overcome the challenge. But then they are possibly being ultra conservative here, and Jambavan knows this because all these Vanaras are very, very powerful. They are known to leap, to take huge jumps, fly. But here, Jambavan knows it is some kind of an unknown fear that is gripping them, possibly the fear of failure that is holding them back. And that is the reason why they are being ultra conservative. No, challenges normally are supposed to be hero making machines. But sometimes the same challenges can also reduce people to zeros. Here, the Vanaras are being ultra conservative, and Jambavan, the great Jambavan, says, Sa idani aham vriddha plavane mandavikravaha yavvane cha tada asit me balam apratitam param. So Jambavan says, good old times when I was young and fit, I used to traverse the entire universe unobstructed in my youth. I used to go around the three lokas. During Trivikramavatara, I was witness to the glorious incident, and I could go around Trivikrama and offer my prayers to him. Such was my prowess, but unfortunately, over all these years, I've become too old. My youthhood is completely gone, and therefore, I am in no position to now make that jump that is required. Now, looking all this, Angada, the leader, he stands up and everybody is looking up to Angada now. Finally, the leader is about to speak up, and all the Vanaras are all eager, all their ears completely focused. Angada says, Aham yetat gavishya yojananam shatam mahat, he says. I can easily jump, I can fly and cross the 100+ yojanas. All the Vanaras are elated. But Angada is not finished. He says, Nivattena tume shaktihi syat navaitina nishchitam. But I'm not sure. I can fly and go to the other side. But I have a doubt. I'm not sure whether I will be able to come back safely. So all that enthusiasm, all of a sudden, it's like the air that is busted out of a balloon of all the Vanaras. The total dejection again for Jambavan, but then immediately looks at Angada. Jambavan comes to the rescue. No, Jambavan, because he needs to ensure that the mood is not spoiled. So Jambavan immediately looks at Angada and says, Apivaye tasya karyasya bhavanmulam marindama tasmat kalatravattat patipalya sada bhavani. Angada, I know you can make the jump. Don't worry about it. I know you can even possibly come back, but you are the leader. You have to be protected, and therefore, I advise that you should not be the one who should be going. So don't worry. You have to stay back. You are the one who is key to this mission. You have been given the role of leading the mission, and therefore there is no way you can go. Now all the Vanaras Now, looking at Angada's assertion, Jambava's reply, they're all a little disappointed now. Silence prevailed. After all this commotion, talk, discussion, total silence. One possibly could only hear the sound of the gentle waves of the ocean. And everybody is waiting without really knowing who is going to take the next turn. And Jambavan, the wise Jambavan, is also knows that so far everybody has been looking at from the perspective of their own individual capabilities. Nobody has really looked upon others and looked at the strength of others. And Jambavan begins to analyze the strengths and weaknesses of everybody around, and suddenly Jambavan has an idea. He sees light, and he looks at Angada and says, Tasya Devira Karyasya Nakinchit Parihasyate Yesha Sanchodayamyenam Yaha Karyam Sadayishyati. He says, Yaha Karyam Sadayishyati. Angada, I know who is the one who is capable of accomplishing this task. Nakinchit Parihasyati. This mission will not be a failure. I can assure you that. And I know who can make this mission a total success. Yesha Sanchodayamyenam. And I know how to motivate that person in order for him to take up this task and succeed, he says. Therefore, now with these words, Angada is elated. All the Vanaras are now looking at Jambavan and they want to know who is Jambavan referring to with such confidence. Tatapratitam plavatam varishtam ekantam ashrita sukhopavishtam sanchodayamasa haripraviram hanumantameva. Valmiki depicts this so very beautifully. You have to visualize the situation there. You have all these hundreds and thousands of these Vanaras all grouped together, sitting together, animated discussions going on. And in slightly away from them, on a rock, Hanuman is comfortably seated in a meditative posture, not being swayed by all the emotions that are going around. Tatapratitam plavatam varishtam ekantam ashtritya sukhopavishtam, Valmiki writes. Ekantam. Without being swayed by all the emotions, Hanuman, he says, ashrita sukhopavishtam, comfortably he is seated. One may wonder, so much is going on here, and Hanuman seems to be having a good time. Sukhopavi, comfortably is seated in a very meditative posture. And Jambavan approaches Hanuman. Haripraviram Hanumantameva. How can Hanuman be comfortably? And why? What is going on? Hanuman seems to be in a meditative posture. We need to understand here that Hanuman knows that he and he alone has to go. Hanuman knows that. The very fact that Rama entrusted him with the Anguliya, by entrusting the Anguliya to Hanuman, Rama also demonstrated his trust. So Hanuman knows he is entrusted with Rama's trust. And he knows he is the one who has to make this. But at the same time, he is yet to remember his own natural, unlimited powers. He also knows that all the Vanaras out there seem to be doubtful, gripped with some unknown fear. And therefore, while he is keen to respect Angada, because Angada is engaging in a conversation with all the Vanaras. So therefore, he knows that if somebody stands up and stays committed to the mission, then he knows then he shall anyway accompany that person. And if no one is ready to go, eventually he has to go. So therefore, his comfort, his comfortness is nothing but decisiveness here. And he is meditating, he is contemplating here on the word that is given to Rama, contemplating on Rama's trust. And therefore, Hanuman is thinking about how to make this mission successful. Now it is time for Jambavan to remind Hanuman of his unlimited capabilities, his unlimited prowess. Hanuman has a purpose to achieve, a mission to fulfill, a master to dedicate his life to. He needs to be reminded that he can effortlessly accomplish this task. Veeravanara lokasya sarvashastra vidamvara. Veeravanara lokasya. This is how Jambavan approaches Hanuman. A great lesson here in terms of how to motivate. This is possibly a very, very important lesson in motivation. Jambavan engages in motivating Hanuman, in helping Hanuman recognize his true worth, be aware of his unlimited potential. Veeravanara lokasya sarvashastra vidamvara trushnim ekantamashritya Hanuman kimna jalpasi. Why are you in a meditative mood sitting alone? Hey Veeravanara, you are the bravest of the brave. What are you contemplating on? And why is that you are not even seeing a single word? And then Jambavan comes up with a very, very profound address to Hanuman. Balam, buddhimcha, tedacha, sattvam hari sattama, visishtam sarvabhuteshu, kim atmanam asajjase. First, he talked about Hanuman's valor, Veeravanara, he says. Now he says, Balam, buddhimcha, tejas, tejaha, sattvamcha, he hari sattama. Hari here is monkey. Vanara, Hari Sattama, the supreme amongst the Vanaras. Visishtam Sarvabhuteshu Kim Atmana Sajjase. No, there are 4 characteristics of Hanuman that Jambavan is highlighting. In order for us to remember these 4, we can kind of remember them as 4 F's. Force, faculty, flair, fortitude. Force. No force can stop the force called Hanuman. Jambavan knows this. Hanuman is an unstoppable force. Why? He is the very embodiment of the greatest force in creation, the force of devotion and dedication. Hanuman is empowered by Rama, and therefore his power is beyond question. Now, in addition to this unquestionable force is the faculty of his wisdom. Hanuman is no doubt fearless, but at the same time, he is also courageous because of the faculty of his wisdom. We need to understand that fearlessness need not necessarily be courageousness, being courageous. Now, fear, no doubt, paralyzes the mind, and fear is an unwanted force, a destructive force. But a kind of fear sometimes also can act as a defensive mechanism. It's not that fearlessness need not necessarily mean being courageous. Let me give an example. A young boy at the prime of his youthhood, if he starts driving on a road on his newly acquired motorbike at 120 kilometers per hour, That is really not fearlessness. That is not courageous. Being courageous, that is recklessness. He may think he doesn't have fear of speed, but that kind of fearlessness is not courageousness, it is recklessness. If a young child goes and touches a live wire, electric wire, that is not fearlessness translating into courageousness. It is only recklessness, rather brainlessness. So that is the reason why wisdom is needed. So it is not just about being fearless, it is also to be courageous. And Hanuman has the supreme faculty of wisdom. Endowed with by this wisdom, he is fearless, he is courageous. Hanuman also has supreme flair. No, life is only 10% what happens. 90% is how we react to what happens. If we really analyze and reflect on all the happenings in our life, 10% happens, 90% is all about how we react to what has happened. Hanuman, Jambavan knows, has the flair not to react, but to respond to life situations. And the fourth F is his fortitude. Hanuman's endurance, capability to endure. Hanuman's fortitude is the outcome of his attitude of gratitude. Hanuman is always in a state of gratitude to Rama, and that is the source for his fortitude, for his endurance, for his resilience. And this is what Jambavan is highlighting. An attitude of gratitude can be defined by saying, when it is about not saying, not remarking, why me, God, when an adversity happens. It is about having the courage to say, why me, God, when good things happen. Hanuman's attitude of gratitude is what is going to take him to the highest of altitudes, as we are going to see in this fascinating journey. And Jambavan knows this supreme quality of Hanuman. And Jambavan is looking at Hanuman and says, Hanuman, you have the power. You are endowed with unmatched power. You must realize this. Now, hey Hanuman, the word power ends with the letter R. Where power ends, responsibility has to begin. So Jambavanta is reminding Hanuman of his responsibility now. You have the power, but recognize that with great power comes great responsibility. The movie Spider-Man stole this phrase from our Itihasas and Puranas. And now it has become very popular. With great power comes great responsibility. This is what Jambavanta is telling Hanuman. Hey, Hanuman, recognize that you have unmatched power, and with that power comes great responsibility. You have the responsibility now of undertaking this mission. And he looks at Hanuman and says, Arishtanemina putro vainateyo mahabalaha garutmaniva vikhyata uttama sarvavakshinam. Hey Hanuman, you know the great Garuda, the supreme bird, son of Vinata. You know about the great Vainatheya. And this Vainatheya, Pakshayo yad balam tasya tavad bhujabalam tavaha vikramacha apivegancha natena nate tena apahiyate. Let me tell you, by all yardsticks, on all kinds of benchmarks that can be done, you obviously are an equal match to that great Garuda. Hey Hanuman, realize this. Just like how Garuda has his mighty wings, your arms have the same might. recognize this power. Jambavanta here also, by taking the example of Garuda, is giving another important message to Hanuman. Garuda secured Amrita for the sake of his mother. Now, Hanuman, you are now about to secure the Amrita of all Amritas, the universal mother. Garuda may be very, very proud that he has accomplished something great of securing Amrita, but your accomplishment is even going to be celebrated more. Why? Because you are now going to secure the Amrita of all Amritas, the universal mother, Sita Mata. Thus, Jambavan gives him a quick reminder. In the process of reminding Hanuman, Jambavan also gives a very quick history of Hanuman's background as to what is the source of this power. Apsarasam Sreshtha, Vikhyata Punjikasthala, Anjana iti Parikhyata, Patni Kesarino Harihi. You are born to Kesari and Anjana. Anjana, the Apsara, Punjikasthala, Apsara, who because of a curse took birth as Anjana and married the Vanara Keshari. And Vikhyata Trishu Lokeshu Rupena Apratima Bhuvi Abhishapat Abhutat Kapitve Kamarupini. She took birth as Anjana, the one who can change forms. Now, all the Vanaras, as we know, have the unique ability. No, they're not just ordinary monkeys. They can change forms. They can look monkey-like. They can look human-like. So, Vanara, are they humans? Are they monkeys? They're a combination of both. So, Anjana, that supremely beautiful Apsara, is your mother. And she married Kesari. And it is with the blessings of Vayu Bhagavan, that you were born. Mahasatto, Mahateja, Mahabala Parakramaha, Langane Plavane Chaiva, Bhavishyati Maya Samaha. Vayu blessed Anjana that you will be born as somebody who's the Amsha of Vayu Bhagavan. Mahasattvaha, Mahatejaha, Mahabalaha, Parakramaha, who is equal in might, who can leap, jump, fly with all the might and strength and traverse around like Vayu Bhagavan himself. Abhyutitam tataha suryam balo dushtva mahavane phalam cheti jigrukshuhu utplutya abhyut pathodivam. Remember the incident, hey Hanuman? When you were an infant, you looked at the sun and thinking that it is an edible fruit, you took a giant leap and you started traveling all the way towards Surya Bhagavan. Do you remember that? You are capable of taking such giant leaps. So why you should be even doubting yourself? Remember those powers. And then Indra, knowing that you may any time, cross over and go all the way up to Swarga, he then threw his Vajrayudha, which then hit you, and then you fell all the way down on the peak of the Parvata. Tada Shailagre Shikareva Vikrevamo Hanu Abhyachata Tato Hina Madhyatte Hanuman iti Kirtitam. And that is how, with a wounded chin, when you fell, because of the Vajrayudha, your left chin was wounded. And that is why you came to be called Hanuman. Hanu is the chin, the wounded chin. One with the wounded chin is therefore, that is how. You remember this, and therefore, when you are thus wounded, Vayu Bhagavan was furious, and then he decided to counterattack. He started to contemplate on stopping the blowing of wind, the blowing of air all over, and all the devatas, knowing the enormity of the situation, started to appease him, and they decided the only way to appease him is to bless you with bountiful strength, bless you with bounty of gifts. And then Brahmadeva started to bless you. Prasadite cha pavane Brahma tubhyam varam dadau ashastravadhyatam tata samare satya vikramaha. Brahma blessed you, gave you the blessing that you shall be indestructible by any missile. Vajjasya cha nipatena virujam tvam samiksha cha sahasranetra pitatma dadaute varam uttamam. And Swachandatah cha maranam tavasyat iti vai prabho. Indra then, knowing that he couldn't destroy you with his Vajrayuda, ended up blessing you, giving you the boon that you will have the ability to choose the time of your own death. And thus you are blessed. Swatvam Kesarina Putro Kshetrajo Bhima Vikramaha. You are Bhima Vikrama. So remember, be aware of all your powers. And Vayamatyagata Prana Bhavan Asmasu Sampratam Daksha Vikrama Sampannaha Kapiraja Yavaparaha. You know, our prana of all the Vanaras is almost lost. You are Vayuputra. You are the one, you have to restore the pranas of all the by inspiring them, by taking up this mission. And therefore, we are all looking towards you. And he says, Daksha Vikrama Sampannaha. Daksha Vikrama Sampannaha. Vikramaha. You are courageous. You can achieve everything. You are Dakshaha. You are competent. Your competence is out of not just your positive thinking, your productive thinking. Now we are going to see Hanuman's competence once he starts traversing over the ocean. Dakshaha. No, it is not just about positive thinking. This is what is productive thinking, which is not only thinking positively, but also transforming any negative thoughts. Transforming negative thoughts in order to manage threats, in order to manage this. So therefore, competence increases when one has productive thinking. Therefore, getting best of both positive thinking and negative thinking. We will see this how Hanuman puts this to use as he starts traversing over the ocean. Idani maham vruddha parihina parakramaha sampratam kalamasmakam bhavan sarva gunanvitaha. And he once again Jambavan reminds him, you alone are endowed with all the right qualities. Hey, Hanuman, nobody else, including me, are qualified. Jambavan here plays a very important role. The achievement of creating an achiever. Jambavan possibly thinks that unfortunately he missed out on the opportunity of achieving something here. But Jambavan also is a great achiever here, which is the achievement of creating an achiever. Sometimes this achievement is greater than the achievement of being an achiever. So therefore, Jambavan plays a very important role. Tat vijrubhavsa vikrantaha plavatam uttamohikasi tat viryam drishtakamayam sarva vanaravahini. All the vanaras are looking towards you, Hanuman. Hey Hanumanta, uttishta. Hey Hanumanta, uttishta harishadhula. Langayasva mahapurna. Parahi sarvabhutanam Hanumanya gatitamaha. Hey Hanuman, you are the tiger among the monkeys. Rise up and cross the great ocean. You have supreme capability that you yourself so far have not acknowledged. And Jambavan says, Vishanna harayas sarve Hanuman kim upakshaye vikramasva mahavega vishnutri vikramakhiva. Jambavan says, you know very well that Bhagavan Hari as Vikrama traversed across the three worlds. You as the greatest of Hari Bhakta, you are also a Hari, the monkey. That Hari travels the three worlds. This Hari is going to now easily traverse this ocean and reach the destination. And therefore, be prepared. And when Jambavan says this, Tatha kapinam vishapena choditaha pratita vegaha pavanatmaja kapihi praharshayantam harivira vahinim chakara rupam mahatatmajatada. What a glorious sight there that is happening. All the Vanaras are mesmerized. They are astonished looking at what's going on. Something magical, something mysterious is happening. Hanuman begins to recollect his forgotten powers. So he is Kapi. Hanuman is Kapi, not just because he's monkey. Kam pibati iti kavihi. Kam pibati. Anything which drinks water is also Kapi. So sun is a Kapi, just like how sun drinks water and absorbs all the water and then showers rains. Hanuman also drinks the water called Ramarasa, and he showers auspiciousness, he showers supreme confidence, he showers enthusiasm, he instills a sense of purpose in everybody around. Tatakkaminam rishabhena choditaha pratita vegaha pavanatmaja kapihi praharshayantata hariveeravahinim chakara rupam mahatatmaja kada. Hanuman could feel an immense power arising within him. He began to grow. He began to grow and assume a gigantic proportion, growing 100 plus feet in height. And all the Vanaras are mesmerized, astonished. Amazing sight there. They're all looking at the sudden transformation that is coming about in Hanuman. And Hanuman now has taken position. Now he is now deciding Veera Kesarinam Putra Veganam Aurutatmajaha Yatinam Vipalashokaha Tvayatata Pranashita. So therefore Jambavan says, hey, Hanuman, you are the one who can dispel the darkness. Yatinam Vipalashokaha Tvayatata Pranashita. You are the one who can completely remove all kinds of grief, all kinds of shoka. So therefore, be prepared. Hanuman roared. The trees began to tremble, forcing birds to fly in all directions. All the Vanaras began to cheer him. Hanuman started rushing towards Mount Mahendra, climbing the mountain with few strides and reached the peak in a flash. Standing atop the peak of Mount Mahendra, Hanuman started looking southwards with a purposeful look towards Lanka. He gathered all his energy in his feet and put immense pressure on the mountain. The mountain started to get compressed. Streams of gold, silver, precious materials started flowing all over in all directions, coming out of the compressed mountain. Sages began to run who were taking shelter in the caves. The various birds, beasts, and the animals, making all kinds of noises, began to run away from the mountain. Hanuman takes position and he is completely focused. The foremost superhero is born. Valmiki says, Sarvegavan Vega Samahitatma Haripravira Paraveera Hanta Parasamadaya Mahanubhavaha Jagamalankam Manasa Manasvi. He says, Jagamalankam Manasa Manasvi. The fearless, the courageous, most efficient, the most effective Hanuman steadily brought his full focus. After all that has happened, he takes a pause, brings his complete attention, his focus to the task on hand, taking the giant leap to reach Lanka. This is the greatest leap of faith ever taken. This is the greatest leap of faith mankind has ever known. As Hanuman prepares to take that leap of faith, let us continue to contemplate on that glorious embodiment of bhakti and shakti, and let us pray and prostrate to those divine feet of Hanuman, which is where all his energies are focused, concentrated, pressing on Mount Mahendra, the glorious, gigantic feet of Hanuman, pressing, taking position to take the giant leap. Asadhyam Sadakaswam Asadhyam Tavakim Ramadhut Katasindoho Akaryam Sadhaya Prabho. Contemplating on him will ensure that all our attempts will always be fruitful. Continue to contemplate and we will start the journey of the most fascinating journeys of all, the journey which is Sundara. Jai Shri Ram.